start learning not to give up too easy. Don't give up too easy in every area. Even in marriage, don't ever think my life and Verdelle's life, our marriage and our family life is just 100%. We go through tremendous challenges. The only thing is we just don't hang it up for everybody to see. We keep it private and we deal with it and we do what we need to do and we move past it. And it doesn't matter what area of your life it is. Don't give up. Don't give up too easy. Don't be a quitter.
These lonely nights, Lord, get a little rough. I don't get lonely because you're there. Cause you're there. I don't get lonely.
Welcome back to another episode of the Highly Favoured podcast. Of course, my name is laFoy, and it's such a pleasure to be coming to you live from the Kulani studios right here at the Kulani Children's Shelter. Now, if you've watched the Highly Favoured podcast before, you'll know that we speak to amazing community leaders doing wonderful work in their God-given callings. And of course, today is no different. Today we have with us Mr. Alvin and Mrs. Verdelle Petersen, and I must warn you, their bios are quite lengthy. They've done a lot of really remarkable work, and we're going to talk about that today. So Verdelle Eaton attended Hillview Senior Secondary. She then went on to study business management at DUT right here in Durban. She successfully completed a diploma and achieved 12 distinctions. In 2006, Verdelle got married to Alvin Petersen, and it was then that they started to buy and sell property. Owning about 10 properties in their personal capacity. They both resigned from their jobs to start their insurance brokerage called Kingdom Life Financiers, and worked hard to establish their brand and grow their company. In March 2017, Verdelle started her own estate agency called Kingdom Life Real Estates. In the 6 years of their company's existence, Verdelle has proven herself and her company to be a force to be reckoned with within the property industry. She has also managed to sell properties to the value of nearly 70 million rand. In 2022, Verdelle was honored to receive the Businesswoman of the Year award. Now, Alvin Petersen is described as a South African self-made millionaire who started from humble beginnings in the community of Newlands East here in Durban. He obtained a financial diploma from DUT as well, and he then went on to establish 3 businesses, formerly known as Kingdom Life Financiers, Kingdom Life Real Estates, and the TMP Capital Investment Company. He is the founder and CEO of the Kingdom Life Group and TMP Capital Investments. He holds 15 years experience in the insurance and property industry, where he has built an investment portfolio worth over 50 million rand. Alvin is currently working on his first bestseller book, and it's titled I Love Debt. Together, Alvin and Verdelle have 2 daughters, Tahila and Mia Petersen. Welcome, Verdelle.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank you so
Alvin.
much
for having us.
Yeah.
Yo, that's a lot, eh?
It is. It is.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel so much when you say it like that. So.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's always a wonderful reminder, I'm sure, of what you'll have achieved in this present moment.
Yeah.
It's strange hearing it from someone else.
Yeah, it is. Well, we try not to keep score, so it's not about keeping score and stuff. So when you do hear it, it's like, wow, okay, sure, we've done so much so far in the time that we've had. Yeah, so we just focus on us and focus on what we're doing, and we just keep pushing forward and stuff like that. And so it's not just about keeping score and keeping the numbers.
Yeah.
But when you look back, it's always wonderful to see. Yeah.
The portfolio.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
just wonderful to see what
definitely.
you've accomplished, so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm inspired just by those bios. So, for our audience who may not know, this is not the first time that I'm meeting Verdelle and Alvin Petersen. I was very blessed to work with you guys in 2011.
Has it been that long?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just before going back to university to finish my third year, I worked with Alvin and Verdelle for 3 months. And that was when you guys were still out in off
Glen Hill,
Ronaldo,
yeah.
Glen
Point
Hill
City.
side. Yes. And it's so wonderful to see how you guys have grown in the meanwhile. Yeah. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah.
Good.
Wow.
Thank you.
Good.
I'm good. Better
Yeah.
for seeing you.
Amazing. So we want to take our audience through the Verdelle and Alvin journey. Can you please start by telling us how did the two of you meet?
Well, I'm going to leave that up to her.
I was just going to say that about
Yeah.
you. Okay, so we are technically termed high school sweethearts.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
were in school together through, I think, much of high school. From standard 6, I think we were in the same class. So we were in the same choir after school as well. So I think
Yeah.
one thing led to another. And he used to tease me a lot in school.
Yeah.
And apparently that's how they let you know they like you.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then after we had changed our lives and given our hearts to the Lord, I think we just gravitated more to each other, and it just became a natural thing because we were spending
Yeah.
so much time together
Yeah.
as well. So yeah, it's from school days.
And I see you both went to DUT.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was
Yes.
that like a decision you all made together, or did it just happen that way?
No, I think you went a
Yeah.
couple of years after me because I studied straight after school.
Yes.
And then he
I
did
took a
night
year
school,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, I think at some point when we were married, he
did
was still doing,
correspondence, yeah.
he was doing it. So it wasn't intentional because it was
Yeah.
at different periods.
Yeah. But I think it was when you associate with people, so you tend to listen to what people are doing, and I heard that she was at DUT and stuff like that. So I think naturally, you gravitate. Yeah.
I'm also
Yeah. Hopefully I'll see you in some classes or something like that. Yeah.
That's so sweet. That's
Yeah.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, in the capacity that I've known you guys, what stands out for me is that you are very, very intentional people. From the words you'll use to the naming of things. Was this always a vision for your lives? I mean, the level of success, the beautiful family, the companies, was this something you foresaw as young people, or did it kind of just happen along the way, in God's plan?
I think for me, as a young person, when you think of yourself as a young person, you don't really have much to see, especially if you don't have mentorship and you never come from a wealthy background or anything like that. So if you come from a sort of disadvantaged family, it's hard for you to see all these things. It's really hard for you to see it. So one of the things, if I could say, is that when I was in church, I was just taught to believe and have faith and have vision. So I would look at what I would like to aspire to in the future, but I could never see it as I see it today. When I look back at my life, when I look at my life now and I think of where I've come from, sometimes it's like, wow, because you never expect things to turn out the way they've turned out. So as a young person, myself, I personally had vision for my life, but I could never see it as fully. It was like looking into a glass dimly. You would just want to have businesses, or you would want to to be successful in life, and that's the most important thing, because sometimes you'll find that you don't know how things are going to happen. You just need to be the person that believes, and you need to put in the work and the effort, and then leave the how to God, and let Him work that out, and you will never really always have the full picture of where you're going to be, but you will have some sort of picture of where your life can eventually move to, and and build towards. So as I think as a youngster, if you had to ask me, I never had the full picture, but I just had this tenacity, I had this belief inside of me that I want to be something, that I want to be something great. I want to be successful, I want to have a family one day. I want to have kids, I want to have what I seem to have today, and maybe more.
So beautiful.
And I think just to add to what Alvin had said, in terms of the naming of the companies, that part was intentional, because at the time we were fellowshipping at a ministry in Newlands East, and we were being taught and mentored by someone who was teaching us those kingdom principles and how to apply it, and and that developed a good positive mentality with us. And I think at that point was when we formulated these names for the company. I think everybody was just so encouraged by these kingdom principles that every business that was being birthed at that time was kingdom something, and he had birthed the Kingdom Life brand. And I'll never forget, he did, I think you went somewhere, it was some training of some sort, but this was while he was still employed at Momentum, he went to this vision board training or whatever training it was, and he did a little plaque with the name Kingdom Life Financiers. I'll never forget.
I still got it today.
And I think you had it for 5 years before the company started? Yes,
no,
it was, because you started
about two or 3 years before.
Is it?
We started.
Okay. But he did this plaque with the name. At that time, we had no intention, but we didn't know how it was going to happen and whether it would work out and things like that. But the name and that plaque we still have today, which is 25 years later maybe. And also the name of his company was so specific. And in my company as well, I knew more or less I wanted to be a sister company to his. And in my industry, you've got to sort of suggest names of a company, and the board has to approve it. And it just worked out that particular name that we had already foresaw was the name that was chosen by the board, the regulatory board, for allowance for the company to be birthed. And that's what happened. So in terms of the naming of the companies, I think that part was intentional as well. And then the growth thereafter.
So guys, do your vision boards.
Oh yes, we believe in that 100%.
Yeah, if I could just even speak on that, one of the things I was very big on back in the day, and we were very big on, is vision boards. Is to be intentional. It's good that you're saying that we are, you've noticed that we're very intentional in the way we speak, in the way we act, in what we do, and it's important because you need to understand what you want in life. You need to understand where you want to go in life. And for us, when we were young, we groomed ourselves to be very intentional in where we want to go to, what we want to do. So if we dream something and we are believing in something, let's put it down on paper. Let's put it. And today, I still use that principle. Today, I still take photos. I still put them up on my WhatsApp, on my social media, things that I want to aspire to do and want to achieve moving forward as well. So those are very important things as a youngster, to be very intentional in as well, and then leave the how to God. You just do the work. You do the work and you leave the how to Him.
Sure. I hope you guys got that. So moving back a step, you touched on how the phrase and the notion of what a kingdom life and what kingdom life principles mean to you guys. I'd love for you to share what these kingdom life principles are and what they mean to you, please, for someone who might have never heard what a kingdom life principle actually is, please.
Oh, you could go for it first.
I was leaning for you. You know what, for me it's just about learning the word of God and what God wants for us. Understanding that He's a good God and He's wanting. And the thing is, what I understand is not everybody listening to this podcast might be a Christian per se, and might not believe in the principles that we believe in, but it's just about the faith, having the faith in God, knowing that He's our source, having to understand that these things are not just going to fall into our lap, that there's faith actions that we've got to implement in order that works with your faith in the Lord, and it manifests into these things. And a lot of it for me, these kingdom principles, is dealing with the mind and moving away from poverty mentalities, moving away from entitled mentalities, and just understanding that in as much as God wants these things for us, He asks us to do the work as well. He asks us to take the step forward to Him. And that in essence is what kingdom principles are. It's just making sure that you are in control, understanding that the Lord is the captain of my ship, and me doing the work with Him and just manifesting and speaking blessings and positivity into our life and speaking these things into existence. So in a nutshell, that's what kingdom principles are to me. And it's a continuous journey, because every day I've got to speak to my mind. Every day I'm faced with challenges, and every day I make the decision to overcome these challenges by the decisions and the way I react to these circumstances that I'm faced with.
Yeah. I think, man, if ever I could stress the importance of a way to live, that will bring you success, your life should be based on principles. People, I've always learned this back in the day, a principle will never change. You only can work with a principle, and we've always heard, like, when we were at Pastor Robbie's church, at Kingdom Living Ministries, and that he always spoke about something, and he said, is if you decide to jump off a building today with no parachute, you will eventually meet concrete discipline. I still remember that. It's like 15 years ago, but I still remember that because of gravity. There's a principle of gravity. So even people that, like Elon Musk and them, that are deciding to fly to the moon and stuff, they have to work within the gravity and understand the gravity principle. So even in God, and in the kingdom of God, is that there's principles that you can apply, and sometimes we tend to want to be a little bit too airy, and I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. We just want to believe or go on emotions and believe that the Lord said this and the Lord said that, where He's given us principles in His Bible, in His Word, that we can follow, that will produce, they've been tested, proven. So if you just take it and put that in your life and start using those principles, you don't necessarily need to wait for that word, a special word, wait for the pastor to come and lay his hands. Those are important things, those good things and stuff, but you don't need to wait for that. You can just apply what's in His Word, apply those principles in His Word, and you will see the success that will come from that. And that's basically what I do. Even when I lead my team, not like I say, not everybody is going to be a Christian that's going to be listening to this program, and when I'm leading my team as well, I always try to bring the other side to it. I use these principles in the Bible, but I don't make them sound like Joshua 1 verse 8. I just say it and I speak it as a principle, but if you understand where I'm getting the principle from, you'll understand it's coming from the Bible. And it'll work for anybody and everybody, whether you're a Hindu, whether you're Muslim, or whether you're what. A principle is a principle. It will work for anybody that is prepared to apply it in their lives. So if I can say anything in terms of that, godly principles is, it's one of the most fundamental things that you should apply in your life if you want to achieve success and achieve some sort of, some growth in your life.
I love what Verdelle said about doing the work, because I think a lot of people just assume that the word can be planted in any soil or in any mind state. Or that blessings can just come in any state. But like Verdelle was saying, it's almost like it's our work to prepare our minds for those blessings.
And that's where the intentional part comes from. You working with the promises of God and, preparing your soil, as you said, in order for that seed to germinate.
Powerful. I hope you got that. Like super powerful things. I love that. I love that.
You gotta put in the work.
Absolutely.
Gotta put in the work. I tell you, we can sit for hours and I can talk about this here, because this is inside of me. You got to, if I could say anything to you, you've got to put in the work. You've got to. It's not just gonna happen. Things is not just gonna pop up and you're just gonna achieve success, or something's just gonna come. And it might, even if it does, it might just come once off in your life. You've got to put in that work. You've got to.
And when I left working for you guys temporarily and I'd gone back to do psychology, what you said actually resonates a lot also on the psychology side of things, like reprogramming one's mind.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of us come from poverty-stricken communities where we have this mindset of poverty and limitation, and like Verdelle and Alvin are saying, it takes work
Yeah.
to
Undo all
change
of
that
yeah.
mindset.
Absolutely.
Every day.
Every day.
Every
Yeah.
day.
Yes.
So that's so encouraging. Now, looking at your two leading companies, you each head your own very successful companies that is held under one group company, to my understanding. We'd love to know just a little bit more about what each of your companies do. Starting with you, please, Verdelle.
Sure.
Tell us a bit more about Kingdom Life Real Estates.
Okay, so Kingdom Life Real Estates is actually the brainchild of Mr. Man here. To be very honest and to be quite frank, much of what I'm accomplishing today is because of him. And I think that, understanding the grace upon our lives and on our marriage has opened up so many doors for growth in my life. So Kingdom Life Real Estate's a funny story, but we planned this at some point, but I was never ready because I never saw myself as a businesswoman. I never saw myself. I was always the support to him. And for as long as just before the company started, I was the support until he sent an email out to the staff saying, listen, she's no longer in the company. He fired me and said, as at 1st of May, she's out, she's starting this. And he said to me, right, the launch of this company is on this day.
Yeah.
You need to make it happen. And I was like,
He pushed you in the deep end.
he
Yeah.
threw me into the
True.
deep end and he didn't push me.
Yeah.
But it was necessary for the
Yes.
journey that I'm now on.
Yes.
So my company is Kingdom Life Real Estates. It's a
Yes.
property company. I've now just started doing rentals. It's property sales and rentals. And for the first 5 years of the company, it was just me in the company, just me doing everything. And I love every bit about it. I love meeting the people.
Yes.
I love what I do. I'm passionate about it and I love learning about it. And I
Yes.
think, for the most part, it shows.
Yeah.
So I'm on year 6 or 7 now. Yes, 6 or 7, and I have a team now, a small team, albeit, but
Yeah.
I have a team now that assists me with different areas and things like that, and we're growing. And it's the little things that make the most, give me the most gratification at this point.
Yeah.
But I'm really enjoying the journey, and so we're specialists in our field, in our property, and I'm confident enough to say that I can stand against all, or if not some or most of the major companies that have been around for 20, 30 years, just because I love what I do and I spend the time investing into myself
Yeah.
so that I'm knowledgeable and I'm understanding of what the market is doing now, where we are, and it does get difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
for example, these continuous interest rate hikes scares me because I'm understanding the effect of what it has on my business. But then a wise old soul says to me, when things get hard, when things get hard, you got to get creative.
Yes.
And this is something that I'm learning to do now. So I
Yes.
think that's the beauty of my industry, is that I can always just reinvent myself in certain ways, and when something comes up or a challenge comes up, just go around it in a
Yes.
different way and still make it work. So it's just me loving the property industry. So like I say, Kingdom Life Real Estates is just property rentals and sales, and we are planning for bigger and better things, internationalize eventually. And at this point, it's just my brainchild to move forward and navigate these circumstances that we find ourselves in today.
Yes, girl. Yes. I'm so inspired.
Yeah.
Wow.
A typical example of me being the visionary and in the work, because she might say that I'm the person that started everything, but she's the person that made the company successful with the work that she put in. And I've seen the work that she's putting behind the scenes. I mean, this is a person that really loves what she does, to a point that I'm a person that I push people to their limits and stuff in terms of putting the time in it. But I'm the person getting upset and said, hey, when are we going to see you? When are your kids going to see you? You're working again this weekend. I mean, imagine that now. So we're talking about that sort of work, work ethic. Yeah.
Yes.
And but it's a good example to see, once again, the vision aside, but the actual work.
Yes.
The success comes from the work that you put in, because I could have had the vision for it and we could have failed,
Yes.
but it's because of the work that she's prepared to put into the company, and that we've seen the success. And that's why the success of the company is there, because of her efforts that she's put in the business.
I love that. And like Verdelle said, you are investing into yourself, and that's
Always.
also your company. Guys, you have to see yourself as the ultimate investment. You have to see yourself as the ultimate value in everything you do. I love what you're saying, Verdelle. It's just watering myself.
That's good.
And with you, Alvin, you've got TMP Capital Investments.
Yeah.
May you please let our audience know a little bit more about that company?
Yeah. Well, our first company was Kingdom Life Financiers. That was the insurance side of the business, which we're still running today. Which we've seen very good growth, moderate growth over the years.
Yeah.
And that was our first company that we gave birth to. And then after that, we started our real estate side of the business, which Verdelle runs. And then the most recent one is our investment company, TMP Capital Investments, where we open up an investment group now. One of the things I've noticed in the insurance industry over the years, and I've been there 15 years to see this, is that a lot of times people have put their money and faith in the banks and put their money in insurance companies, hoping that they're going to get fantastic returns, and it doesn't happen. We've seen clients that have had returns less than 5%, and you ask yourself, how does a person make 5% after fees, after everything? Sometimes 3%, sometimes nothing, in the last 10 years, in the last 15, 20 years. And it was passion of mine to always start something where I could come to the community at large, and I could say to people, come partner with us, partner with us, and let us give you something that you actually deserve, something that we know that will make you successful, make me successful, and make the company successful. And that's what TMP is actually doing. That's why our logo is building your legacy. Is that we wanted people, the vision of it is that we wanted people to come on, partner with us. Let's almost like a consortium in a way, partner with us. Let's go into these markets that we know that's going to give us good returns, and that could give you a fantastic return, give us a good return, give the company a good return, and make all of this profitable, not just having one end of the stick being far more successful, building massive buildings in Mshlanga, and having these billion rand buildings, and their clients that are funding these actual buildings with the capital that they've got, on the strength of their capital, are making 3% and 4% and 5%. And that's where TMP came from. TMP came from that. It stemmed from that sort of thinking, that we wanted to do something where we could go into the property market, we could start investing into property, and we could start a rental business where we could start leasing out properties that we would build and develop. And that's basically to build, buy land, buy properties, develop those properties into multi-family units, and lease it out and generate an income from that. And from that, we are able to pay our investors out. And that's basically what TMP is. That's how we run our model, and that's how our model works. And it's fantastic. I mean, when we look at the rate of what we're giving our investors or our partners, it's nothing where the market can give. And it's not because we can't give that. The market actually could do it as well, but they're just not doing it. Because us as a small company with what we have, and we are able to do it, realistically looking at the model, we can afford to give that to our clients. Our clients can afford to have that sort of interest, earning every single month from us. We always ask the question, why doesn't happen in the marketplace then? So that's where we've stemmed TMP from, where we wanted to do better for clients out there. We wanted to give our partners better than what they're getting at the moment, because at the moment I really believe it's a raw deal. And we want to change that with TMP, and we want to get to a place where our clients are happy to be with us because they can see the returns that they're getting from it.
I think it also goes back to what you were saying, the founding principles of this company are. While certain companies may be based specifically on capitalistic greed and how much they can get out of the person, you guys are also looking at what you can give back to people, which is beautiful.
Absolutely.
With the investment company, do you only invest into property developments, or do you also touch on shares? Do you also touch on projects, or is it specifically property developments
Yeah.
that you guys focus on at this point?
That's specifically property.
Okay.
Yeah, we've looked at what works,
Yeah.
and we've tried it, tested it. I actually piloted this company for 3 years with
Oh,
my
wow.
family. With my family before we open it
Yeah.
up to the public. So I used to do this with my mom and stuff like that.
Okay.
I say, Mom, give me X amount of money
Yeah.
and stuff like that, what she had, and
Yeah.
I'll give it back to you. I'm putting my money into this property.
Yes.
And I developed the first property and stuff
Hmm.
like that, and we leased it out, and I got profits from that, and I was able to pay her the interest that I
Wow.
promised her. And I did that for 3 years. And it's amazing, in the time of the most turmoil, the most unstable, the most depressing, the most anxious time that our country or the world has ever faced, which was COVID.
Yes,
TMP was birthed.
sure.
And
thriving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
TMP was birthed. We birthed the TMP in that time. It's amazing. I had those 2 months or those 3 months to actually just sit, and I eventually came across, which is someone that is a farm mentor today to me. And I saw this guy in the States that was doing something, and I said, but I'm doing this already. I'm already doing this here. But I'm doing it on a small scale with my family.
Yeah.
I said, why don't I start my own company and start doing this with the public? And that's where it actually got birthed. In COVID
Yeah.
times, TMP Capital Investments got birthed, yeah. And we've narrowed it specifically only to property. We don't take investors' money. We don't go and gamble it into
Yeah.
Bitcoin or into shares or anything like
Yeah.
that. We only put it into whatever is related to the property development, yeah.
And it's also giving assurance to the investors because it's something tangible. It's
Yeah.
something they can see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something like I'll leave Alvin to touch on his launch that he had on the weekend. We invited investors to come through and see what you are a part of.
Yeah, and it was fantastic,
Yeah.
man. I mean, we had our launch of Le Chateau.
Okay.
That's another project that we just finished in Lelusha, two bedroom units. And we had an opportunity to invite some of our investors, our top investors, some new investors that are potential investors, and some of our clients and stuff, and family, friends, and that as
Yeah.
well. And it was beautiful. It was wonderful, man. I mean, she
Yeah.
put the party, the function. I mean, she did everything. She did such a great job in it. It looks so
Yeah.
beautiful. The photos are going to be out this week, yeah. So we're just holding on to it till we get our photographer to give us the proper photos with the branding
Yeah.
and stuff, and then we want to launch the pictures and the videos of that that day. But it was wonderful, man. It was so it was so nice to see that our investors came, and it was one of our investors' birthday, and I got her to cut the ribbon and stuff like that. It's that
Yeah.
TMP. That's our culture. That's
Yeah.
our culture is that we our investors will become our family. And that's how it is, because we know that we're not doing this only to make us wealthy.
Yes.
We're doing it for everyone,
Yeah.
everyone to become successful
Yeah.
in this area. So if you and you form part of our company, then you must be successful just as we are successful as well. Yeah, and it was wonderful to have our investors over and to actually see what we're building, the brick and the mortar, the ceilings, and to see what we're actually doing
Yeah.
with the funds that do come in. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to touch on what you mentioned. You are not the first people that have mentioned this. I just want to say God is amazing. Like, somewhere in the Bible it says that even during the famine, I think it was in the Old Testament, the 7 years of droughts, the 7 years of...
Yes.
Like, even
With
during
Joseph.
that time, we've had more than enough.
Yeah.
It's so juxtaposing and just like so unexpected to see that during COVID, while at the same time there was a lot of lack, a lot of change, a lot of death, even a lot of people were unemployed. It's so encouraging to hear from so many people of God that they were doing even better during that time, and it's really encouraging.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think with me, even if I can talk about the Kingdom real estate part, when we sat at home, okay, at that point it was just me, but I didn't have any concerns because prior to the company going into lockdown, I had secured about maybe 8 deals, which I could have sat at home for the rest of the year and everything would have been sorted, but it was that assurance from the Lord itself. You know, during that time, like you said, everything was seen to. Our staff were paid 100%. We didn't have to apply for UIF.
Absolutely, we didn't.
You know, nobody lacked within our circle, based on our principles and based on, you know, what we were doing at the time and what the Lord was doing for us, more importantly, during that you know, insufficient time, if I can say.
Your faith was rewarded
absolutely.
so beautifully.
Absolutely.
So on a parental, practical, everyday level, I'd love to know, how do you all stay grounded amidst all the business needs, amidst all the company needs, the growth, the clients, your vision boarding? How do you guys stay grounded, balancing your work and your family life? Please.
For me, it's just about putting boundaries in place. Like, for example, Alvin had gotten to a point where he had said to me, hey, listen, you can't be working so much. Because I was, you know, my eyes were on the prize. But then I realized there's certain boundaries that I've placed within my business to accommodate the family side. So the one principle I implement is that my business works around my family. So if, for example, the kids have sports, we will be there. No negotiations. So I structure the business around my kids and my family and Alvin, so that I'm able to be there at all times. One of the things I do is, like, I work every second weekend, or I try to work every second weekend. If I do work on a Saturday, it's till 12 o'clock, so that I'm able to still meet them for lunch and, you know, that kind of thing. So for me, it's just a matter of implementing boundaries that serve both, because it's very easy to be consumed by business. Being self-employed, your life is about work, and I had to learn to switch off, and I'm still teaching some people about learning to switch off, but I understand it's a work in progress. Some people catch that practice more than others, but you know, it's difficult, but like you say, we understand why we're doing it and what we're doing it for, because ultimately it's for the family. So we can't be successful in business and be failures in the family. So we've got to try and implement boundaries and practices that serve both. More importantly, our family comes first.
I love that.
Yeah, no, it works, honestly.
For you as a dad, as a husband, Alvin, what are some of the practices that help keep you grounded as well?
You know, like I think Verdelle said, it's just as who you're doing it for and what you're doing it for. You know, what's the reason behind it? And for me, my success has always been for my family. It's always been for my family. You know, my friends around me, that sort of thing. It's never been just personally for myself. It's never been that I just want to be successful so I can just drive nice cars and just no. It's been for my kids, and a lot of it is also when I think about my success in it. I always the reason I believe that I've attained so much or I've achieved so much is because I'm always thinking of my kids. I'm always thinking of my family. I'm always thinking about them when they are older. I'm trying to make it easier for them in life, you know. And that's important because when I started, I had to work very hard. She had to work very hard. Her mom and dad, you know, weren't earning the best salaries. My mom and dad weren't earning, they were bottom end salaries. They never had the funds really to send us to varsity and stuff. I hear the stories. She's got such a testimony in terms of her father, how her father used to go to Dr. Suleiman and go to the neighbors and ask for sponsorships to send her to varsity. You know, so we never had those luxuries, you know, certain luxuries in it. And I'm trying to make it easier for my children. So my children can have a better start in life, you know. And with them having a better start, they can do more for their children, you know. And that's been the focus and the goal. Family, you know. So what keeps me grounded is that. Is that at the end of the day, you understand that you're doing it for them. So you can't just work all the time then. Because if you work all the time, then you might be providing the funds, but you're losing the family units, you know. So it's important to find a balance in that there where you understand that I'm doing it for the family, for your children, for your wife, for your kids, and that. So when it's time for them, give them their time as well. When it's sports day, go support them. Be supportive also emotionally, from an emotional point, not just a financial point. From an emotional point, be supportive. Go and support them. And sometimes it's hard. I mean, she'll tell me it's a kid's sports, and I'll be like, shucks. Like, I got something to do. But I know
Something.
I know I'm getting my special shirt for the day, but it's exciting. I end up going and we have a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Supporting the kids and
We are in the parent races and everything.
yeah, serious, And for me, that's what gives me joy as well. What gives me joy is, that I'm there to help my girls and I'm there to support them and grow them up and nurture them and help them be better, better. They're going to be better human beings, for society, that they're going to be, not just, they're going to be contributors, they're going to understand that, learn to give, to have a giving heart, to learn to think about other people and not just themselves. And these are things that we're trying to help with our kids in it as well. So that's the part that grounds us, is that we understand who we're doing it for and understanding what we're trying to do for the next generation,
And also, just to add to that quickly, I think it's also about who we surround ourselves with. The company we keep is intentional. These people must have the same visions as us. These people must be intentional about their families, that they want to grow in life as well. So it's always a give and take from our families and our friends, and we don't have that much of a circle, but the people that we do have keep us grounded as well. So if it is that we might be leaning on the one side a bit too much, we have the example to look at. So that is critical in our circle. Small as it is, but it's a winning circle.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think where some business people actually lose the plot, Alvin and Verdelle, I love that you mentioned family as the end goal. I feel where some business people lose the plot is just wanting the attainment of money for the sake of money. Because that in itself, like you mentioned, it's like a never-ending, never satisfying, empty space.
Absolutely. I mean, what's it going to be worth to you to have all this money and have no family to share it with? The little things we enjoy so much, we know we work hard, then we look forward to a little weekend here, a little day out here, or things like, because that's what satisfies our souls. We want holistic prosperity. We don't want financial, because we know success is a number of different pillars, and what we are after is holistic success. Family, friends, relationships, finances, business, all these things must work together to give us that one thing where we are winning in every area.
Where you wake up feeling fulfilled and
Absolutely.
happy. Guys, take points. So, my next question, a little bit spicy, but very important, I think, for younger viewers as well. After we'd seen the Moroccan superstar, soccer star rather, that made headlines, where it was found that he had enlisted all his assets in his mum's name. It got a lot of the public speaking, married and single people alike, seeing something like this, especially between two highly successful individuals, him and his wife. For younger people looking for guidance or wisdom on what sort of marital contract you'd advise younger couples or single people wanting to get married who are also involved in business, what for you would be the guidance or advice that you give? Because you've got business that in itself involves a lot of contracts and legal work, and then you've got marriage, which in itself is a constitution on its own and its own agreements of sorts. What would you advise is the best form of marital contract for two successful or potentially successful people wanting to get married?
Well, at the end of the day, it's always comes down to the two people, individuals, because different contracts can work both ways. Like we in anti-nuptial, and it's worked fine for us, but if we have to talk from a business point now, one would want to look, and one would want to tend to rather look at an anti-nuptial contract. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to be excluding your partner from your life and from your wealth, because you might come into the marriage with an anti-nuptial contract, but you're coming at that point with what you have. Only at that point of what you have is yours. Thereafter, if you're building stuff together, it can be tailored in the contract to what you're going to own in terms of that. So it's not really such a big thing. I think it's something that it comes down to the two individuals. But honestly, with all the legalities and stuff of what you can do in business, sometimes it's better to lean to an anti-nuptial contract, and you can make it with accrual, or without accrual. It's totally up to you in terms of that. But sometimes just from a business point of view, because you could, along the line, you could find yourself in trouble in business. You don't want that to lean onto your family. Whether you're in a community or property contract, you find that when you go into business, it's two of you. So even if your wife is not involved, your husband's not involved, if anything does happen to you, she still can get sued, that she can still be held responsible in that. So, you could look at it. You could look at maybe structuring it as an anti-nuptial agreement for those purposes, to start protecting the one part. Or you could find that your credits could get shot because of what you did, or you could be in business, something could happen to you. You could still use your wife then in business, to continue doing what you need to do to continue supporting your family and moving forward. So that's something I would more strongly say, go and visit an attorney and have a discussion with an attorney in terms of that. But like I say, when you're young, you're naive. You don't see the full picture of where you're going to be going to, and sometimes you're just in love and you just want to get married, and the first thing that people think of is, let's everything just be one with us. But you find later on in life, if you're a business person and you start achieving successes, that one would think that an anti-nuptial would have been the best way to go in a contract. And it doesn't mean, and I want to say this, it doesn't mean you are secluding one party from your life. It doesn't mean that.
It could
at the end of the day
mean protecting
absolutely
in a certain instance.
Absolutely.
And
It's a form of protecting your business. It's a form of protecting your spouse at the same way.
And these are conversations that need to be had prior to marriage. I don't even think, if I think back, we had the conversation because we were not taught about the different types of marriage contracts. It's only now that we are learning how to navigate, because we got married so many years ago. So this is an important discussion to have. Credit profiling is important, because if you just get married, I'm looking after my profile and you don't have a good score, I'm affected. You know what I mean? We can't buy a house together because of you, type of thing. So these are critical discussions to have if we are directing things like this to the young viewer.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Alvin, for sharing wisdom on the different types of marital contracts within a family where there may be a thriving or potentially thriving business. Definitely something for people who are looking into marriage to research and find out more about. Speaking about marriage, can you please tell us, how did Alvin propose?
Can you tell us how he proposed?
You go for it.
Let's see if you remember. It's been 17 years.
It's in archives. It's in archives at the moment. So
if I can remember correctly, I think it was December. I can't remember the year. But it was like Christmas Eve or thereabouts. Alvin took me to Mykonos. There used to be a buffet place.
Beautiful Greek
in
restaurants.
Musgrave.
Mykonos, I still remember it. When I was small, my parents, I think, took me there, and it was like, wow, it was so nice. So,
And I had no clue. So he took me to this restaurant. I don't even think I was dressed properly because I didn't realize. I just knew we were going out for dinner. And he got on his knees in front of everybody, and I remember being so embarrassed. At that point, I was much younger. We got married when we were 23, but we were engaged for 2 years, I think. So it might have been around 20 or so. And he went on his knees in the restaurant and proposed, and I said yes. And we were so excited, but we only married, like I say, 2.5 years after that, after the planning
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, it was.
That's so beautiful. Really,
Yeah.
really
It was,
beautiful. What year
honestly.
was that?
I can't remember. We married
17
17
years
years.
ago.
We were engaged for
Yeah.
2. So it could be closer to 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
We're 40 now. So we
Okay.
can't remember those things. Yes.
No, that's a beautiful
It's in archives.
story.
Yeah.
I told you.
It's
Yeah.
Okay. So I would like to please ask Alvin at this point if you would share a word with us and with our viewers on the show today, please.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the most famous scriptures that people know and people always speak about, and it's also been one of my favorites over the years. I think this was actually my scripture when I got baptized at AOG in Newlands East. Yeah.
Okay.
And it basically speaks about in Jeremiah 29 verse 11 that I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord, or declares the Lord. And he says it's plans to prosper you. So it's plans to prosper you. It's very specific in that. It's plans to increase you in every area. Not just, doesn't say plans to prosper you emotionally only, plans to prosper you only financially. No, plans to prosper you in every area of your life. His plan is to prosper you. And he says not to harm you. Not to harm you, not to bring any harm into your life, into your family. He says, but to give you your expected end. To give you hope, to give you your expected end. And that's always stuck with me. I've always reminded myself that that's his intention for my life. No matter how low, no matter how dark things can get, or no matter how difficult things can get, his intention is always to prosper you and always to not harm you and always to give you your expected end. So I think, just for society out there, is that I want you to understand that that your situation that you find yourself in can change. It can change, success or failure, I always say, is an event. It's not something that is a person. And you might be finding it difficult, or you might feel that you're failing in life now. It can change. You never know in the next 5 years where you could be if you just put your head down and keep working and keep pushing and keep motivating yourself, keep waking up and showing up every single morning. You don't realize what could happen in the next 4 to 5 years of your life. And that's what I want to leave with our viewers today. I want you to stay optimistic. I always say to Verdelle, even with the interest rates heights or whatever, I said, don't fall onto the other side. Don't be a pessimist. Stay optimistic. Get creative in whatever you're doing at the moment. And sometimes people just need to know that, even myself, that when I find myself in a very difficult time of my life, I need something or someone to tell me that there is a way out. I don't want to hear it at that time. I don't believe that there's a way out at the time, but there actually is. And sometimes I just need someone to reaffirm that in my life. Reaffirm that it's going to be okay. You're going to get through this. You're going to get through this. Whatever you might have experienced this challenge in your life, but it's going to change. It can change. Just keep showing up. Keep getting up and keep showing up. That's the most important thing. Keep getting up and keep showing up. Keep getting up and keep showing up. Keep talking to yourself. Keep motivating yourself. Keep encouraging yourself. Keep feeding your mind, most important, with positive thoughts. Positive thoughts. Keep motivating and feeding your mind. And naturally, when your mind starts to react, the body will follow. The body follows the mind. The mind does not follow the body. The body goes where the mind tells it to go. And if you can get that right in this dark moments that you're facing, or those challenging times that you're facing, if you can keep feeding your mind with positive stuff, your body will eventually line up to what it needs to do. But keep getting up and keep showing up. That's what I want to leave you with today.
Sure. I feel so blessed on the Highly Favored podcast. I feel like I get these words of encouragement first and directly, and then it reaches you guys at home. That is so powerful. Really, really beautiful message. Keep getting up, keep showing up, as Alvin Petersen said.
Yeah.
So, my last request of you guys before I ask you to share your company details and where people can reach you is, what is your message of hope for young people? You know, when I look at not only successful individuals, but a successful relationship, a successful family, there's so much that young people are going through out there. You know, if you look at social media, it's like a war zone, you know. There's so many hurt young men, so many hurt young women, and they're just projecting a lot of this hurt on each other, on their communities, in their places of work. What is your word of encouragement for young people who may be watching, who also one day want to have successful families, be successful individuals, living their calling according to God's will? What is your word of encouragement, please?
Yeah, you know, nothing's, you know, people tend to think that people that are successful don't have challenges and don't go through difficulties and don't go through hard times in your life. It's not true. It's not true. And sometimes social media tells a lot of lies. You know, you see a lot of photos, you see this, you see that, and you think people's lives are just, wow, what is going on with my life? But when you investigate and you go a little bit deeper into people's lives, you see that they are going through the exact same challenges as you. Exact same challenges. They have to go through deaths in their family. Their parents have to pass away as well. Their mom has to pass away. Someone in their family's got cancer. Someone in their family has picked up a virus or something like that. Someone in the family has been affected by COVID or something, or someone in the family has lost their job. There's a thinking that successful people don't go through these things. We all go through it. And when you understand that everybody is on their own journey, and in that journey of time, everybody is going to face more or less the same challenges you're going to face. You know, it tends to give you hope. It tends to make you feel a little bit better that you are just as human as that person up there that's earning 10 times or 20 times more than you. And that's what I want to leave with people today. Don't give up too easy. A lot of times we feel that people up there don't deal with the same things we deal with down here, but it's not true. They do. It's just that they're not giving up. They're not giving up. They're not just throwing in the towel. They've learned how to push past the pain. They've learned how to push past that pain barrier. You know, if a female that's giving birth doesn't know how to, and she does it naturally and doesn't know how to, I don't think my wife knows that, but and a lot of women don't know today because they get epidurals. No offense anyway. But if you don't know how to push past that pain, if you giving birth naturally, that baby will die. The baby won't come out, it'll die. You have to push past that pain barrier and get that baby out to eventually experience the beautiful birth of this child that will bring so much emotion that actually overshadows all the pain that you felt for the last 2 hours or 3 hours. And that's the thing that people need to understand. As youngsters, you need to understand. Start learning not to give up too easy. Don't give up too easy in every area. Even in marriage, don't ever think my life and Verdelle's life, our marriage and our family life is just 100%. We go through tremendous challenges. The only thing is we just don't hang it up for everybody to see. You know, we keep it private and we deal with it and we do what we need to do and we move past it. And it doesn't matter what area of your life it is. Don't give up. Don't give up too easy. Don't be a quitter. You know, there's a saying that I don't like to use these things too much, but they say quitters never win and winners will never quit. Winners are not quitters and quitters will never win. Don't be a person to give up too easy in life. You have to learn to push past the pain barrier. You must learn to push past. And you'll find that as you start developing that skill of how to push past the pain barrier, you naturally start learning to deal with more and more and more. And the more you can deal with, the higher you'll go. And the higher you go, the more money you'll make.
Yeah.
And you just start making more and more and more and more and more.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so encouraged.
Yeah.
I know our viewers are definitely encouraged as well. So it's been really, really lovely having both of you here, Alvin and
Thank you.
Verdelle.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Nice to
having
catch
us.
up.
It was lovely being here this morning.
Yes, before you go, the last thing I'm going to ask of you guys is that if you can just look into our camera and tell our audience where they can contact your companies, you know, if they need any assistance or any services that your companies offer, just let them know how they can reach you guys, please.
Okay, so I'm gonna share with you guys Kingdom Life Real Estate is available on all social media platforms, that is Facebook, TikTok, Instagram and WhatsApp and all of that. There's only one number that I have, which is 071-686-9315, and I'm a specialist in dealing with all things property. So if you're thinking of buying property, selling property and property residential rentals, I'm the person that you need to contact. All right. And
That's right.
with Alvin, with you?
Well, you could get us on Kingdom Life, our Kingdom Life Financiers page. We've got our social media platforms as well.
Yeah.
On Facebook, just go punch in Kingdom Life Financiers. You can also go onto Facebook and get us on TNP Capital
Yes.
Investments. You could alternatively also just phone our offices on 031 563 1068. That's 031 563 1068. Alternatively, you can just go on to Google and just Google us and you'll find us as well. That's the easiest way. Just put in the Google, and you'll get us. Our pages will pop up and you can get in contact with us. Yeah, we are based. Our offices are based for our companies. It's based at 95 Blackburn Road. That's in Durban North, near Park Hill. So if ever you want to just pop in, have a cup of tea or cup of coffee, and a scone or something or biscuits, please do come pop in. Yeah, we'll make sure.
Make the appointment first.
We'll make sure that
So
we
we
have
can
a
play.
scone ready for you and a cup of tea. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate
Thank you.
it.
It's been lovely.
Yes. Thank you very much, man.
I'm sure you have been as encouraged and inspired as I have. From me, Lex laFoy, it's always so beautiful having you join us right here on the Highly Favoured podcast. And thank you so much once again to our amazing guests, Verdelle and Alvin Petersen, all the way from Kingdom Life Financiers and Kingdom Life Real Estate. Yeah, so stay blessed and please do press the like button, press subscribe, and just stay tuned for more amazing, encouraging, inspiring content. From me, bye.
Cheers. Bye. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.